stuck on with expanding foam. That's seriously not good. Furious Driving, proud to be supported by Diamond Bright, protecting, cleaning and caring for the Furious fleet and for yours, with 10% off using code FD10. Bidding Classics, the online classic car marketplace with more cars added every week. And Lancaster Insurance cover the Furious fleet. They are one of the biggest specialist insurers in the UK, covering all areas of vintage to modern classic cars and motorbikes. Follow the links in the description below. Hello and welcome to Furious Driving, and this is my 2002 Ford P71 Crown Victoria Police Interceptor, a car I imported from Ohio just over a year ago now. A car I've been looking for absolutely ages to find the right one, and I have really enjoyed owning it, even though it looked a little sorry for itself after a few weeks of sitting outside with the elements just being nasty to it. The bird lime, the trees mess, all that kind of stuff, making a mess of the paint on me, which is not good at all. Anyway, there's only a couple of things in life that are certain: death, taxes, and my cars will rust unexpectedly at the wrong time. And today it's number 3. Because maybe I'm just unlucky, maybe I'm buying the wrong kind of cars, maybe I shouldn't buy cars from states of America where they salt the roads 8 months of the year. But I dropped this up for an MOT the other day, not really expecting anything beyond minor advisories, little kind of issues, that kind of stuff. But yeah, maybe because I wasn't looking I didn't find, but the MOT man did find. Have a look at this. So there's a plastic cover just here, which hides from the outside most of what's going on underneath here. Now this didn't really look like anything until I started feeling it and felt the crispiness of it, and then put my hand through it, and then pulled all of this stuff out of it, which means there's probably worse to come. Oh, yep, there is a fairly big hole just there. That means I've got to take this plastic cover off and have a proper old dig. Now I actually was planning on doing welding today. I planned, because it's the day before the bank holiday, to get the Mercedes out and put that wing on, because I thought the weather might be quite nice and it'd be good. I'm still doing welding, just not on the car I was planning to do it to. Right, let's get up in the air and start probing. I know I say this every single time, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to do welding, which means I'm going to undo the battery, because, you know, we don't want the car to explode. And that's just common sense. I'll do it now while it's on the ground, so it's nice and easy. Right, so what we've got to do, first of all, is get this plastic cover off, first off. And there is a beautiful self-tapper in there. There should be something at the other end as well. That is pure wood screw. And this then should, with the doors open, pry out. So we'll do that as well. Okay, so there is a little slot just here where you can start making your pull. Oh god, that's not a good noise. Oh god, it's stuck on with expanding foam. That's seriously not good. There are meant to be clips holding this on that you just pry off, up and off kind of thing. There we go, that's one. The fact that this is glued on down here with expanding foam gives me serious cause for concern. It shouldn't be glued. So this one, using the trim tool, slide it along, up and up, there we go. Oh, there is stuff hitting the floor, which is also bad. There we go, clip, clip. I'm seeing expanding foam at the front as well. Come on you, up you bum. Oh, that clip broke. Oh my word, this is full of rust. And this one, how's this held on? This is held on with expanding foam and rust. So, great. So I've got a couple of these clips to replace, so Rock Auto phone call coming your way. I've not told you the best bit yet. There's a hole on the other side as well. Oh, I do love finding expanding foam in the body of my car. Right, okay, well I'm starting at the back, I'm going to work forwards. Oh my god, that's terrible. Okay, let's start here. and see what kind of structure I actually have. Not a lot. Oh my god, there's a flipping massive hole here as well. Zoom out a bit for you. Oh Jesus. I basically haven't got a sill here. Oh but Jesus, this is bad. They've made the structure of the car out of expanding foam. Oh my god. That is horrific. And then we've got, oh Jesus, this is 1,000 times worse than I was expecting. All of this is not here. Well, that is the hole I originally found, but that is immense. Oh Jesus, that's crusty just there. But yeah, that's a screwdriver. Yeah, that's not really there anymore. I mean, this is a body on frame car, so this is not technically structural. Oh Jesus. And then we've got this whole area here, which is, just gets better and better, doesn't it? Oh my word, this is, oh man, would you look at that? That's just gone as well. Oh dear me. This is worse than a 1969 Mini. I might just... The problem with fixing stuff with expanding foam is that not only does it not fix it, it traps more moisture, so the problem gets worse. So the actual wing, the cosmetic wing has been shaped. My god, this is the biggest bodge in history. Oh my god. Down this bottom part of it, they've, what do you call it? They've stone chipped it, so you can't tell the difference. So it looks like it's just a stone chip area. So it needs a new front wing. It needs this whole area here rebuilding. Oh my god. This is just awful. This is 100 times worse than I was expecting. I knew I was going to do some welding today, but this is just off the scale. This is worse than the W123, which is bad. This is 1,000 times worse than the 1969 Mini, which is, well, it's a shell, but it's not that bad. This is just awful. Well, let's take a look at the other side, because that, I know, has got a spot of rust in it as well. So before I even begin on this side, another wood screw, which is, let's call it an alarm bell, because that can't end well, can it? Let's get the trim off. Okay, alarm bell number 2 is the fact that I'm hearing crispy, fluffy noises off this side as well, which can only mean, yep, more expanding foam. You can't see it because it's been oversprayed with green paint, so it's well hidden. That's that clip off the back, and this is all kind of bonded together down here. So let's have a look at what we've got underneath this car here. So we've got surface, which is less worrying. We've got another big patch of expandy foam down here, which is, I can't believe Ford made their wings out of expanding foam. So we've got a little patch just here, which is made of foam. Okay, got a hole just there. That's part of the outer wing. I might have to take the outer wings off to have a better look. What else have we got? So we've got a bubbling surface just there, which is Actually quite solid, fortunately. I feel like I've been here more times than I would like, discovering horrific amounts of rust in a car which I thought was relatively solid. But this is taking it to a whole new level because, well, this was a car that was a serving police car a year ago. And I knew it had been through the police body shop a couple of times because I knew both front wings had been taken off and replaced after sort of fender bender prangs, because this car's history was a detective's car for 15 years, and then the last couple of years it was the pool car for the motor pool for the town. So whatever cop needed a vehicle when their car was in for work, they took this one out. And so I guess people who are not used to driving these big old behemoths, would be used to driving the more SUV-shaped police cars, weren't necessarily so used to the bulk of them. Anyway, so I knew it had new front wings on it. I didn't realise what they'd done to bodge them back on and save a few dollars. I am horrified that a police body shop would use expanding foam as part of the car. I thought that kind of bodge went out the window in the 1970s when you pick up a second-hand Ford Cortina with chicken wire and the copy of the Sun or the Daily Star slapped in the side with a bit of filler over the top. I mean, that is beyond unscrupulous. The whole lot was really well hidden by the plastic rocker cover disguising everything, and the fact the rocker cover was glued on with expanding foam just makes it 10 times worse. I mean, they didn't even bother to glue it on properly, they just used expanding foam to shove it in there, sculpted it, stone chipped it and then painted it. So to all intents and purposes it looked okay. And when I got the car in last year I did wax oil it, but it looked like okay metal at the time, so I painted over it, but it must have been going really badly from the inside. And as I say, if you put this stuff into a car, it just holds the water. Of course, this is from Ohio, where they do have a lot of snow, a lot of bad weather, and they salt the roads a lot of the year. So I guess it was inevitable I was going to find some rust, but I'm really disappointed at the level of bodgery, utter, I can't even say all the words I want to say because I'll get demonetized and struck off YouTube if I do, of the people in the body shop for letting this out. A police car that's going to be involved in like high-speed pursuits and things. That is just shocking. Anyway, the negative is it's very extensive. I'm going to pull the front wing off in a second and have a look behind there because I think I need that off to gain access to it. Yeah, it's bad, but it's a lot of flat sheet steel. That's the good side. It's a lot of flat metal, it's all hidden, and the main thing to take away from this, it's a body on frame car, so this actually isn't structural. The body that sits on top of the car is purely for decoration and to keep the rain off you. So that's not too bad. As long as the bolt holes that are holding this decorative body onto the chassis are in one piece, we should be okay. Man alive, this is not what I was planning on doing today at all. Great. I'm not sure this is going to be the quick, sparkly spanner and everything back together and off for an MOT retest like I was planning. I suspect this is going to be several days worth of work. Oh well. Okay, so having looked at this and bear in mind the fact that the bottom 4 or 5 centimetres, maybe a bit longer actually, the bottom this much of the side wing, front wing, is made of foam. I'm going to need a new wing on this car on both sides. I don't think these are particularly easy to find anymore. For some reason there seems to be a bit of a shortage of wings, or fenders if you're in America. So this needs to come off. I also noticed that there is like a sandwich of foam underneath there. It's quite hard to show on the camera, but you've got the outer skin, you've got something that might be car and something that might be wing, and then a big blob of foam which I need to get out. So I need to get this wing off, and I'm not quite sure exactly how you do that. So I'm going to start off by pulling the side light unit, which I only replaced a few weeks ago actually, because the old one was letting in water. But yeah, Ohio does not have an MOT test or equivalent. It has a biannual emissions test, and this really is a damning indictment of not having an MOT test regularly on cars, and also a kind of a warning really that the 40-year plus rule for classic cars, if you're not testing a car regularly and you're not going underneath it regularly to look for rust like that, you can have a car that's dissolving without any knowledge. If you've bought some 40-plus-year-old car, and bear in mind that takes us back to the early 1980s, so we've got some pretty hot stuff like Audi Quattros and Fast Fords and things which have got you know, 130, 40, 50 mile an hour top speeds on them, driving around without an MOT. If the last owner did something like this on it, and you've got no clue if you don't MOT it, that is astonishing. And I was just talking to a friend in America about this, and he was saying that, bear in mind that Beechwood, where this came from, is a pretty rich county, so that's not the kind of place where you'd expect this kind of bodge, so perhaps it was the dealer it came from. So I don't really know who to be angry at, whether it be the police garage, maybe it's the body shop where they sent it to get the wings replaced. They did it as a quick fix, just because they could get a fixed fee from the police station to go and sort it out. I don't know. Well, if the dealer fixed it quickly and bodged it up, I don't know what the story is. As he said, it's unlikely a borough as rich as Beechwood would bodge it in that way, unless, I don't know, it's some kind of defleet thing, make the car look pretty to get a better price for it. But the level of money we're talking for this car, a couple of $1,000s, wouldn't be worth doing anything at all. It'd be better to sell it for scrap than to sell it as a wreck that's been fixed up. Right, okay, so I've got 2 screws here. I've got a screw down there which holds the lamp in. I think there's another bolt down there somewhere. I'm just remembering how much fun it was to do all this the other day, actually. I'm going to have to take the headlight out in order to get access to that bolt, as I recall, which is why the car failed on headlamp alignment. For reference, access to the small bolt that holds the side marker on is through there, and the best thing to do is take the headlight out, and then you can put an extension bar and find an extension bar that happens to match the gap between the plugs for the light bulbs. Then you can get your socket and your wrench on. The headlights out. Now we can get the side marker out, unplug that. The headlight connectors though, so brittle, and they'd already broken slightly, and now this is a rotate, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. And now the plugs are actually just crumbling, so I'm going to have to glue them on next time. Right, let's put the little bolt back on there so I don't lose that. And this is the nice new one I only bought a few days ago. Glad I spent money on the car then. Right, so we've got a bolt just there, got 2 bolts just there, bolt up there and there. I think that's mostly it, but I don't know, I'm sure there'll be more that I don't know about. Right, this looks like it may take a while, mostly for finding the tools as much as finding the parts to change. This looks like a 6mm, is that 6? Is that turning? Is it even smaller? Is it a 5? Surely not. No, 5's too, oops, 5's too small. Unless it's a 5.5, and would they do that to me? Would they give me a 5.5mm? Do you know, I think they would. I genuinely think they've stuffed me with a 5.5mm socket, unless it's some kind of imperial thing. I know whenever I've talked about millimetre sizes on this car in the past, people have gone, oh, it won't be metric, it's an American car. But this is mostly a metric car. So yeah, I don't know, I'm going to see what else I can find in the garage that might get that thing off, because currently it's not moving. It was 7:30 seconds because, of course it was, because that makes perfect sense to put a 7/30 seconds size bolt just there, when that one is an 8mm holding the bumper cover on, which I've just loosened off, and these two on top are 8mm, and this one tucked underneath here is also 8mm. So yeah, well done Ford for real joined up thinking just there. This is why I like Mercedes sometimes, and Rover. Maybe I'm going to make this an all Mercedes channel from now on. Maybe all Mercedes and all Volvo, with a bit of Rover. At least Rovers stick with one format of bolts on one car. Right, so there's that bit there. Well, I've taken those fixings out. It doesn't feel any looser at all, so I'm wondering what else has to come out. There must be something under underneath the bumper cover, I guess. Okay, there's a couple of clips down here. 3 of those just there. I think the arch liner will probably have to come out, but in the meantime I've got now I think it's these 2 bolts that hold the car bonnet hinge on, but right, I can't find the rest of the bolts, so that's lunch. Definitely lunchtime. Right, over lunch I did a bit of checking online, so now I know there should be 2 13mm bolts up here by the windscreen, one just there and one just there. Now I see why it says you've got to take the bonnet off first, because you can't get to that rearward one. 2 behind the rocker cover, which would have been down here, so I don't think we need to worry about those ones particularly. One behind the arch liner, which is this, and I think there's an 8mm bolt or two that hold that from underneath, so I'll go find that in a second. 2 8mm behind the headlight carrier, which I think are these two here, and it says 2 to 4 behind the headlight. I can find one, I can't see the rest unless they're hidden by the bumper itself. Okay, so we're getting there. I was hoping not to have to take the bonnet off because that's a huge thing and I'm on my own. So, just thought I'd take a moment to sweep up my car before I try and lie underneath it. Oh, so much metal that's not part of the car anymore. I am genuinely furious. Furious driving, I am seriously off with whoever did that, because they've just hidden the problem, made it 1,000 times worse. Utter stitch up merchant. Right, the wing is definitely a 2-person job because I need to take the bonnet off and there's only one of me. So let's have a quick look at grinding a bit of stuff off and see what's left. Oh my god. That just keeps on going. Jeez. That's just pure filler all the way up there. Holy moly. That's... I can't blame the camera. That's mental. I can't believe that. Utter bastard's done this. The camera didn't start again, which seems to be fairly common with this particular thing for some reason. Right, so ground back a load of filler and a load of foam. So there's a ton of this stuff in here. Found some metal at last. Thing is, I don't know which is the wing, the fender, and which is the inner wing, which needs to be preserved and part of the car. I think all this stuff here is the bolt-on fender, but it's a 2-person job getting the bonnet off, so I can't pull this out to try and figure things out at the moment. Yeah, so I think I'm going to have to, I'll obviously be buying new wings for this thing. But that was just pure filler. The only thing comparable I've seen of my own cars, certainly, was a Mark 1 MR2 I used to have, where it had been T-boned when it was new, and it looked like an insurance job, where they just filled like 8 centimetres of filler in the side rather than bending the metal back into place. But yeah, this is, I don't know, I guess a lot of cleaning up and then flat plating. That is just an immense chunk of metal gone. Oh dear me, that is a big job doing this, and the more I look at it the bigger it gets. And this is the frame the car actually sits on, this big sturdy metal bar behind it. This is fortunately not rotten, this is the actual frame of the vehicle, so that's kind of good in that respect. Thing is, this is meant to be one of my good cars that doesn't need any work. This is just a thing I'm supposed to be just driving and enjoying, not doing massive amounts of fixing on. This is not part of the plan, it has to be said. Yeah, quite annoying actually, very annoying. The thing is, when I bought this car, I bought it on eBay, which gives you very little comeback to start with. Bought it from America, which makes it even harder because you cross border at that point. It took ages to get out of the country because of the shipping crisis at the time. So it was about 2-3 months, about 3 months by the time I actually saw the car having bought it. So any kind of consumer rights were long gone at that point. And by the time I actually got to my house, it was weeks and weeks had passed between paying for the thing and seeing it. So even if I'd known there was a problem, I wouldn't have been able to do anything at the time, had I suspected there was an issue. When I did go underneath the car, I did have a good look underneath it, and I couldn't see anything, but yeah, not good. It's only really because that little hole in the middle started to fester. It must have been bubbling from the inside to the outside, and that finally, where is it, just there, festered to the point that the MOT guy could see a little blister, so he prodded it, made a hole, and then yeah, that's within 30 centimetres of a seatbelt anchorage, so that's a fail. And then he had a bit more of a look. Question is, do I tackle this myself? It is a huge job, and I guess I could, but it's going to take weeks to do. Or do I farm it off to someone professional because they can then just sort it out? But that's a lot of money. I'd definitely have to sell something else on the fleet to pay for that. And the plan was to, you know, do other things with the money of selling members of the fleet if I do sell anything. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go wrap this video up right now. And yeah. If you'd like to support this disaster, then head over to furiousdriving.co.uk, where we've got Crown Victoria mugs and stickers, we've got Furious Driving stickers and what have you, many other mugs and t-shirts and things. Or consider becoming a Patreon or channel member, because channel members and patrons did actually find out a couple of days ago that this had failed its MOT and was, yeah, going to be an issue. But even they, and indeed I, had no idea quite how bad of an issue we were looking at. Man alive. Some days you just wish you'd stayed in bed, don't you? Okay, right, I'm going to go edit this and then more tea. You know, you're looking at a problem and you just need to walk away for a few minutes because it's not getting any better, is it? Rightio, thank you for watching, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, you know.